Hey everybody, Panuganti here, and this is my 10-year YouTube anniversary video. 10 years! March 4th, 2011, I posted a cover of Bob-Omb Battlefield from the game Super Mario 64. And while there have been a few videos beforehand, this was the very, singular point at which I considered myself to be an active YouTube musician in some way, shape, form. That said, of course, that video was god-awful and messy, and I didn't take myself seriously. I was just learning as I went, and, what an incredibly crazy journey that kind of took me on. It took me from making videos to meeting new people from across the world and making music with them, to discovering that they are actually real people and meeting them at conventions and watching them play on stages, to getting invited to play on those stages, meeting composers of the games that I've been covering for years, playing on video game soundtracks, making miniature movies out of those music videos, concept albums. A lot has happened in 10 years, and while I obviously can't dedicate a whole video to that, I wanted to create something to thank you all and to kind of reflect on those 10 years and see if I can warn some new YouTubers or entertain some old YouTubers who know about all of these mishaps and just have a good time on this very weird special occasion. One of the most important things I have to do for this 10-year anniversary is the thank yous. So to all of my collaborators, no matter if you had made 3D models for me, held the camera for me, gave me ideas for songs, if you play piano, guitar, bass, sang, violin, just all sorts of help for distribution, sponsors, everyone who's chipped into this channel, hopped into the Discord and given me ideas, or, made those ideas into actuality, people who have invited me to perform live, or people who have commissioned me to make music for them, or mix or master their music. All of it is part of the 10-year journey, and all of it is pretty integral to what this channel has become, what musicality has become for me. And while music isn't necessarily the one thing I'm doing here, it's the thing I'm taking so much pride in. And I just can't believe I'm making the 10-year anniversary. I feel like I've been watching other people's 10-year YouTube anniversaries for a while now. And now that it's my turn, it's like, what? 10 years! 10 years have gone behind you. I can't do this channel without collaborators, without viewers, fans listening on Spotify, buying the albums on Bandcamp either. Huge thank yous there. And everyone who's helped distribute the music and licensing and royalties to composers, something that I absolutely take a very strong stance on doing. Everyone who's contributed to that is part of this channel, and I am just super grateful that this channel is standing in some way, shape, form. Once again, right before we dive into the retrospect and the reaction fun, I've got a plug. Follow me on my socials if you want to keep up better. YouTube isn't doing a great job at sharing my videos all the time, and sometimes I don't even post videos of all the music I make. So you can follow me at Panuganti on Twitter or Instagram, and you'll find me there. Or you can follow me on Spotify and all of that stuff. And a huge thank you, of course, to Patreon. I have patrons who have been supporting so many cool things on this channel. New guitars, new instruments, new artwork, and commissions. It's a really, really important part of the channel, and I'm so grateful for all of you who have been part of that patron journey, even those who are just giving $1 a video. Alright, so I'm gonna start with some of the older videos and work my way up through some of the ones that you all requested. And we're just gonna have a little interesting fun time here watching my first YouTube video ever, Bob-Omb Battlefield from Super Mario 64. There's so much in the background. I can see my high school, the classes I was taking in the background. And I think that drum loop was a built-in drum loop. I was doing picture-in-picture. The thing that I'm obviously it's really easy to be embarrassed by old everything and old covers, and I am. But also it's there's so much in here to deconstruct. It's almost nostalgic. I can see I have this little flag of Japan I got in Japan, all my school books and stuff, and also the arrangement during the loop. I already knew on my first video that I didn't like keeping things plainish. I wanted to have some sort of influences drawn from other music that I really liked. So the fact that there's like a second guitar going in doing like these bluesy fills, it feels like very similar. But like, yeah, the camera was on my desk. You could see all of it. There was no bass guitar. Okay, this next video might be the one I wanted to watch more than any other video in this retrospect, purely because this is like such a sentimental video. So I met basically my first collaborator in the video game cover music world in a website called Vocal, which is like Twitch, but it's specific for Q&A, like question and answer sessions and stuff, which was like, you know, it's just totally unheard of now. But I ended up like, we were just like talking on a larger YouTuber's stream, and I ended up meeting this person, Parecki 95, and we were just both like, check out my stuff. No, check out my stuff. And we were like really happy with it. But we were also just like the little cocky kids in high school trying to like both outdo each other, but also become friends and impress each other. And it just ended up in like one of the longest friendships I've had in YouTube. But we ended up deciding to do a cover of Mute City from the game F-Zero. Oh my gosh. We're like completely yellowed out. I'm in my pajamas. Like, come on. We're like not in focus. We traded off the leads, which worked out really well. And we did little harmonies. The biggest thing that Parecki and I will both talk about with this video is he liked the guitar solo I recorded first in our draft. But when I was filming the actual video, I played my solo live because I didn't think I could act it out like you would for most traditional music videos. So he ended up uploading this video to his channel with the original guitar solo going over with the wrong footage, because obviously I didn't have the old guitar footage, and mine has like the proper one. But yeah, the video brings back the most like feels for me, because this is 10 years ago, and that means I've known Jonathan for like 10 years, and like in so many ways, nothing where it matters has changed. This is the video that like I simultaneously know I have to talk about, but it's also kind of like, it's weird to talk about. So around 2012, we're already in my chipper end of high school year, and I started getting a little bit better with guitar and like comfier and stuff. So the videos I would create were more like elaborate, and I was doing these medleys. I was inspired by Family Jewels and a lot of people who had been combining a lot of songs to make more of a themed video. And I knew that I loved video games, but I also really loved TV and cartoons. So I came up with this idea that I hadn't seen done yet, probably was, to cover a bunch of songs from the old 1990s Cartoon Network theme songs. You know, like In Dexter's Lab and Cow and Chicken and all of those like fun songs, because that's what I love. I love cartoons. And there's so much noise in the guitar signal. I had bought my friend Alvin's bass guitar from him and like borrowed it. You can't really hear it, but it's there. And we had like a Slayer-inspired intro. Like I started arranging creatively, but oh, we have a Van Halen t-shirt, which I wish I had that. I don't fit in it, but I wish I had it. But I was basically like trying to do something a little unique by not doing a game thing. Here's a fun cameo here. My buddy Jake McCoy, who was one of the first YouTubers I really looked up to since he had blown up so early, and he was doing these really polished covers of Zelda music. But he also was one of the only friends I had with a mic. So he whistled for the Ed, Edd n Eddy theme. A few other fun things you can spot here is the Swiggles 1987, my very first username, which I will answer again why. Swiggles is something I made up in PictoChat on the Nintendo DS with some friends in like 4th grade, and I just liked the word. 1987 was something my dad added when I was making my Xbox gamer tag. Happens to be the year that they came to US, but I just stuck with it, and then everyone got my age wrong, so it kind of screwed me over in a lot of conversations, but it's part of my history. And then, of course, I need to address this video was and is my most viewed video. 8 years later, I can't top it. That is just the way YouTube has decided to go. But I got this video viewed on Smosh.com, and if you don't know Smosh, they were like huge titans of YouTube back in the day. So I got 2,000 subs in like a few days. It was insanity. And then of course it stopped because I didn't, you know, double down on it or anything for a while. That's like my earliest bass playing besides just playing root notes. Okay, we're still in the 2012 phase here, but this video is very, very interesting and probably one of my worst videos of that time. But I think it kind of symbolizes something as the start of me bringing in my Indian heritage into covers. This is Lethal Lava Land or Shifty Sandland from Super Mario 64. And while in college, I started trying to think of ways I could make my music more exciting and interesting every video. New style, new style, new style. So I just played guitar and kind of improvised a lot. And you can see the college dorm look. I actually don't have this guitar anymore. But I did get a new Strat eventually. And you can hear like this very generic like tabla loop in the background. I feel like it's important to show you all this because eventually I would try to get better at Carnatic and Bollywood inspired like Indian pop arrangements. It's 2013 and we're now getting to scratch the surface of basically one of my favorite games of all time and one of my closest friends of all time, Mitch, or Maximum Hamburgers back then. You might know him from the band Tetramino, but of course I know him from just doing a bunch of weird video game covers back in the day. Mitch was one of the very first people I met who had a real like passion for prog music. He turned me on to Dream Theater, and he's a drummer as well as a guitar player, and he can do it all, but we just did it on a whim when he bought a 7-string, Treasure Trove Cove. And I love this song so much, but it is so hard. And back then, I still wasn't taking my like acting very seriously, so I would leave a lot of mistakes in, but I think Mitch did a good job here with everything he was given. And he looks so different now. We both look so different. And I know Mitch and I talked about this before. We didn't like the 7-string tone in retrospect, but it was just exciting to have it. Oh my gosh. Mitch is still one of the coolest drummers I know, and I'm very excited to hopefully be able to like do more music with him. Cloud Cuckooland from 2013. To give some background to this, of course, I can't take full credit for this cover. This is a collaboration with one of my other oldest collaborator and close friends, Carlos Insane in the Rain Musicini. In 2013, Carlos, being the budding musician he was, decided to cover a video game song every single day for summer in the name of charity, the Summer of Covers. And a lot of, I'm sure his viewers and maybe even some of mine will remember that we crossed paths a little bit before then too. We had done Kakariko Village and a Pokemon Coliseum cover, but during the summer I lent a hand wherever I could, and I was so happy to just get to work with someone who played so many different instruments than me. And obviously, like, in retrospect, like, why would this kid like want to do something with this like crazy like metal rock prog person like all the time? But we just liked working together. It didn't matter that he came from jazz and I came from rock. Like, we found all these weird crossovers. The video edit, you can tell. This is also one of the first times he used an iwi, electric wind instrument. And there I go. And we did like all these weird wacky sounds. I would love to do this song again with Carlos if if it worked out, but it would have to be even more insane than this, In the Rain. And we dedicated each section to like one style of music, and I always thought that was really funny. And then the heavy compressed guitars come in. So we would jump back to the piano now, and as you can hear later on in the cover too, like, he would bring out sax and we would do like a very somber noir kind of jazz trio vibe. Wait for it. I don't know why, but that was a very important part of the edit. We've worked together on at least like 10, 15 songs now off the top of my head. All right, now most of the videos, if not every video I've reflected on, has been a in-person it's been by myself just me or a collaboration with someone far away. But in college, I met my buddy Mad Attack, and we just were so excited to know another human being were making video game music that we put together some of our scrappiest, but honestly most creative mashups. Zeldoid is one of those. Now, we filmed this outside of the library. People probably looking at us, just handheld shooting each other. I had no reference. Now, this is a combination of Link's Awakening's Overworld, and then eventually Brinstar from Metroid, which was one of Matt's ideas to mash them up. And there's the wide shot. We're in 2014 now, and things were getting pretty exciting in the video game community. There had been a lot of channels out there that were, stirring up a lot of really cool ideas, people diversifying their styles and influences, and obviously there was more community events than ever, especially in 2014. I actually gotten to co-found a little charity group called Multiplayer with my buddy David Russell, and at that time there were also contests and kind of like community events going on. One of them was held by Family Jewels, and the challenge was to make a video game medley in 1 week. And I tried putting together all of my best arrangement creative ideas, and for some reason I thought breathing on camera would look cool. But it was a really exciting time to make something in 1 week in the middle of school. And I know there's been a lot of contests since then, and people have kind of stretched out how long to spend on all these things. And there's Mad Attack's bass, of course. But I was so happy with like some of these ideas. I was getting a lot of them from prog metal and modern music that I was kind of diving into for the first time. So you can kind of hear that. This ended up winning third place and tying with a few people that are now some of my closest friends too. One of the other really important things, of course, in my YouTube journey, and you're probably picking it up, is meeting really exciting musicians and friends. And the person that I met that excited me a lot was my friend Rich, or Rishad EB. I had met him through this contest, started seeing him posting his stuff a lot, and he was extremely like tech metal, into like all sorts of bands that I had not quite gotten around to, and not many people were into any type of like progressive metal influence in their cover arranging. So I was just like glued to what Rich was doing back then, and one of our very first collaborations is this crazy messy thing, Stone Tower Temple. Now, some of you might have picked up, but Rich is also probably the most influential person on my camera angles. I really liked what he was doing with the DSLR look, and he showed me how he was setting it all up with the settings, and I ended up adapting basically all of that. Even today, it's still that technique. And Rich sent me like this huge stack of like lead guitars all mixed to like super fuzzy, and just like, alright, figure out something. Next video I want to show you all is in 2015. This was a very exciting year because my buddy Thunderscott had arranged a Operation 1-Up album. It was a kind of spin-off of the Multiplayer style charity albums, which were the only ones of their kind that we knew about, but Thunderscott had arranged for a donation fund to help one of our friends, Darth Aurelius, get a kidney donation. So this video and song was part of that album to raise money, and I covered Star Wars, the entire movie. The very first Star Wars movie is still probably one of my favorite movies of all time, and I always wanted to cover the score, but it was so intimidating until this opportunity rose. You'll also notice this is around the time I started playing 7-string. I really got hooked on 7 strings from Steve Vai, Dream Theater, Periphery, like a whole wide spectrum of players. Also in 2015, I made a recording guide based on what I had been doing. I don't recommend anyone really go through this recording guide, but most of that is because I'm supremely embarrassed and or proud of and or embarrassed of this. I wish I could be like these guys, making all these solos and riffs and video game covers. They make it look so easy. Yet, here I am. I just want to be somebody and make one great. God, why does my skin look so horrible? So I made a musical intro to lead into my music mixing guide. And this was probably like a very small precursor to the fact that I wanted to sing more on my channel, and I wanted to do more like show-tuney musical stuff. Still haven't gotten to do it again, but...
To play guitar is quite the dream. Making a song, it's not my scene.
So one of the interesting things there, besides everything, is I had like these cues. So I like actually thought up like a video with like scenes and timing and I don't know what I was drawing from. I've only acted in so many plays, but it was just such a weird, like nobody should even think about doing this, but I did. And I don't know, it was also like kind of a big bandy swing type of deal. This wasn't like a rock musical in any way. But something about this really excites me just because I knew in 2015 I was doing like singing, which was already scary. This might be one of the earliest videos where I sang a song on my channel. But obviously like I did everything in just like low chest voice, like kept it safe and all of that. And I guess it's not awful. I don't know how I would have mixed it differently or whatever, but like that's what it ended up being. Okay, while I have a better collaboration with my friend Julia Henderson, it's probably better to react to the very first one we did because there's more stories. And I met Julia through her Fallout 4 theme cover that ended up on RVG Covers, or the Reddit that I had created for video game covers. And obviously we both liked Rick and Morty, and the rest was kind of like history.
Together, cosmos without hatred. Stars are like diamonds in your eyes.
It still feels like sweet and simple though. And of course I had to do the space delay thing.
With feet marching towards a peaceful sky.
I really like the idea of doing like 1960s, 70s looking sounding covers though. I also made the fart split. But I have such sweet memories with all my collabs with friends. No matter like how much we like the music itself. This is a lengthy video. This is probably one of my best videos I've ever made, to me. This cover was kind of put together for an album called Versus, which was a Game Lark versus Materia Collective, kind of like friendly competition collaborative album. And it was all about fighting game music. And I know nothing about fighting games, and I know even less about their music. So I started looking through all of these different games, and I just happened upon this thing called Killer Instinct. The newer version had a theme called Jago's theme, and it was sung in the style of like Nepalese monks, and it had like this very cool chant, and I was like, what if I just changed that to Hindi? This was one of the very first Bollywood-fueled covers I'd made, and having Jackson Parodi on there playing accordion, kind of like a sub-in for harmonium, and shouting with me, like, that was the best, especially since he's a fighting game fan. While this is probably the most straightforward arrangement, like I took everything from the original, I'm so proud of how vocal it got. I don't know where that Sherwani is, or Kurta top, I guess. I really want to find it though. I might have to ask my mom. And also, again, it's a vocal song. I wasn't doing these. This is 2016. I did not sing on my channel. Let's do some actual reflecting on what I do better. I've remixed this song so that I could perform it live with a better backing track, but I would definitely make this brighter. And I would also color it a little bit too. I think it would look really cool with like some like streaky orange or something going on. At the end of 2016, some of my friends in the music community had put together, you know, a few projects before, and one of them that was kind of headed up by my friends Lackey and Christian Richardson was called Secret Musician Project. It's very similar to a Secret Santa where, you know, you have a group of friends and everyone randomly gets assigned another friend, and they have to make, in this case, a cover instead of a gift. So I got my friend Alejandro, or AMusic, and I wanted to put something from his favorite game in a style that might be close to his heart. So I made Smiles and Tears into a vocal acoustic ballad in Spanish. And I was really proud of this because some of you may not know, I took AP Spanish, so I studied it for like 4 or 5 years. And while my Spanish is probably rusty, I never got to sing it on the channel. I want to remake this so badly. You can tell I'm like still kind of like not excited to sing in public. But I was so proud of the lyric writing. It took a while because I had to match the music melody. And I still remember a little bit of it off the top of my head. It should not have taken me this long to show you all a song with my buddy David Russell. We have co-founded Multiplayer together. We have been working together since maybe 2013 on all sorts of quickie songs. He is the other improv master, and we work together so great, and he is such a good friend of mine. But in 2017, that was probably put to the test. I had basically pre-ordered my Switch and The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I was incredibly excited for a very big adventure game like Breath of the Wild, which turned out to be. And in that excitement, I saw that the soundtrack actually was coming out in a little form. And I thought this would be my time to play my favorite franchise's music and put together an album in just 11 days. And with some help from my friend Sebastian, and I had amazing artwork done by Blue Star Mako, we put together an album, and I even have the artwork on my wall. I would turn the camera, but it's so perfectly positioned. This was the first video to come out right then, and this album changed so much for me. This was the time I really, really felt like my music was respectable, exciting, and my channel could like be watched, and I should start paying more attention to stuff. I haven't watched this video in forever, but there's like, this feels more modern me. Like, we're in 2017 now. I'm taking care of angles, lighting a little. I wore a shirt that I bought like the day before at GameStop. And of course the David bluesy notes. Like, this album works to me because of piano in the midst of all of it. And the mix is still not very good, but maybe for Breath of the Wild 2 we'll revisit all the tracks. There's like little nods to like prog metal here too. That's what I'm so happy with. I didn't just gun it. One of the biggest changes that a lot of like longtime viewers will probably recognize, but even short-term ones, is that I've been getting more excited by the video element and the visuals, because I mean, video games are video games, and I've wanted to make my music videos such that if you didn't know the game, or maybe you do know the game, the video can still carry your interest, even if it's just like a lot of technical playing going on. Dennis was a buddy of mine from college that had a great eye for this kind of thing and wanted to work with me just as much as I wanted help from someone good. And this was our first project together. And like, we butted a bit of heads on like how a music video should be. But doing Ganondorf's battle at a, you know, doing all these angles, multiple locations, it was so exciting for me. Plus, the song is super hard. It's a 23/16 time, 25/16. Hold on, 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1 2 3 1. Oh my god, whatever it is. I thought it was 25. It's a very complex time, so it's hard to count, basically. But this video looks so good. Like, I think the only problem is my colors. And then we jump. But yeah, it's so exciting for me to see this, actually. Like, we didn't have the gimbal or anything crazy to stabilize. The music was for my album, The Temples, but I hadn't come up with the idea to do that cover yet. Or sorry, that album. This is also one of those times where like we basically improvised how we should shoot the video after we got like initial ideas, and it felt like guerrilla music video making. We're just like, let's do this. No, let's do this. Okay, let's like try that. Okay, the sun's gone. All right, we did it. 1 day music video. But Ganondorf's battle is really the start of it. We would end up making a lot of other videos that I'm happy to share, but just the two of us kind of figuring stuff out was really exciting. Okay, this is probably the most self-indulgent video I picked, but I really, really wish that, like, I really liked this video that I made. I was really happy making it, and I kind of wanted other people to see that. So, for those of you who grew up watching The Muppets, you definitely know the song, The Rainbow Connection. It's, you know, it's been in the original movie, it's come back in, like, a lot of the newer TV shows and movies. It's a very sweet, sweet song with, like, kind of deeper, like, lyric meanings than most kid shows would have, but I ended up rediscovering this because I was listening to Spotify, and they had this playlist of music that was shown in The Office, and there's a scene where the character Andrew Bernard, plays this song. So I ended up hearing it again, and I got this idea to order puppets and cover it myself.
Oh, hi, Kermit. Oh, hey.
I also got a ukulele from
listen,
my friend who started making.
Would you want to sing a song with me? Yeah, sure.
Okay. So what you can probably tell is, to make this shot, I basically had to record the cover in its kind of entirety, and I would just time every, my speech from the camera based on the recording, which is not the way I would do it now. I would act it out and record it, and then I would put in the talky bits later. Or I would just record myself on my phone and play it back so I could hear what Kermit is saying and react in real time. If you have seen my parody of The Lighthouse, which I used to announce Fallen Hero album, that's what I did. Here, I also crawled underneath like a little tub I covered with like black paper, and I did Kermit's voice here. I wanted to get like a stage looking thing, and like the Kermit puppet I found was kind of cheapy, but it kind of works. I also put like an air purifier near the camera for like smoke. This is the biggest video project I think I have made with live filming. It was so elaborate. There was a huge day plan, scouting locations. Like, this is probably one of the videos I have to be proudest of ever. My buddy Dennis and I worked together on this huge idea to do Shadow Temple from Ocarina of Time for my album, and kind of tell this weird story that plays off of what the Shadow Temple really was. It's this dark maze underneath the world of Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. We looked for a place that we were allowed to film in, respectfully, of course, because it's a cemetery, and we did like some VFX shots like that one that I was proud of. We shot at night with the Sony A7 III, and this area is one of my favorite shots. We were shooting in a tunnel by a school, and everything is super dark because I color graded way too dark. But we had the coolest, grittiest, like, B-roll ever, and we increased the shutter speed for some reason. Oh, we shot the video, I have to mention this, we shot the video by accident in slow motion on the Sony, which is 120 frames a second, which means that it is more exact than ever. So you don't see a lot of blur. It's very like shaky, gritty, and it accidentally looks really good. But at the time, I thought it was a mistake. Now I realize it actually plays really well. And then, of course, my buddy Matatek here, we did shoot in slow motion for this. We dressed him up as a Stalfos bad guy, because you fight them in the the level, and him drawing a sword. And we have bloopers of this whole video, don't worry. But we had him like menacingly come up, because him finding me is like the tension. So we like thought of all these like little movie elements right around here. So this shot itself, Matatek takes a swing at me and misses. I'm running with this ocarina around my, around my neck, and it was a very like inexpensive one I had gotten off eBay, but it was ceramic. And right in this shot here, it actually drops and shatters, and you can hear it in the camera. And I kept going, but we had to we couldn't do some of the ideas we had where I would play the ocarina and get out of, you know, getting stabbed. So we changed it to the guitar. Now this shot was done on drone. I was terrified of this shot because the drone was hanging like right in front of my face and rising up. We had to do it a few times before I got it. I also got the idea from Steve Vai's, what is it? Not Paint Me Your Face, Under It All, where people would just tell these like very honest, earnest stories. So I wanted to see if people would be interested in doing that for Shadow Temple with our memories of like loved ones. And that's what you kind of hear. Now the biggest thing at the end here is the sword fight. We rehearsed this sword fight after I watched like 3 hours of sword fighting on camera videos. We have a crazy solo from Ikaro Paiva here. We are already in 2019, and this one's fun. This is actually one of the most fun covers I had that year. I was on a big VFX and green screen kick, and a lot of the videos don't come out very like fun or clean, but I am insanely proud of this one. So this one is actually Sweet Victory from As Made Famous in SpongeBob SquarePants. So what happened was the Super Bowl at that time had gotten like, you know, this rumblings that they might cover this song, much like in the SpongeBob SquarePants episode where they play the Bubble Bowl. And it was to honor Steven Hillenburg, the creator of the show, who had passed away. So because it turned out that they hadn't, within like a week, Sweet Victory was kind of like trending around, and I was like, yeah, it'd be cool to do a cover of that. But it'd be really cool to do it in the Bubble Bowl and try to like get a bunch of people involved so that it feels like a full band. So I just posted around, and I decided to just sing like a little part of it. So we got like Tyler Jenkins here on the huge horn section and Danny Romberger. So we really did keep it kind of like the show. And people were just like chiming in. One of the things I have to point out though, in my effort to make it very VFX heavy, that background you see is not, of course, the Bubble Bowl from SpongeBob. It is a screenshot I took from Rocket League. And I just blurted out. And I can tell, like, I'm not comfortable to singing that high, even 2 years ago. And then we have Charles Ritz, Mason Lieberman. And there's just something really funny about how this turned out to be like actually a really popular video. Like I think it's sitting at 73,000 views. Jesus, I didn't check. I thought it was at like 10. Okay, wow. But yeah, it was just, there you go. Power of SpongeBob and collaboration in one day or so. The year 2019 wasn't just amazing for SpongeBob. It was amazing because I had gotten to go to Japan with my buddies, and I actually ended up going to Seattle in the summer. And I made an amazing collaboration with Insane the Ray Music again, called the Pokemon Snap Medley. But I also wanted to talk about the video JENOVA. It was a really fun cover I made with my buddy Colby Dude, and we had our friend Becca film us at night, and we recreated a lot of the Final Fantasy VII, like, you know, heavy, corporate, crazy vibe. And I was really proud of the video, even though it's, you know, it's nighttime, it's dark. This is one of the very few collaborations I've ever done in person with a guitarist. And I was really happy with like the arrangement too. We have like this really cool breakdown in the middle. It's got like a 7-string vibe going on. It's like the JENOVA melody turned into like a metalcore rip or something. Now, when I say I saved the best for last, I'm really, really talking about saving the best for last. In my summer 2019 in Seattle, I had ended up watching this huge video breaking down this anime I had always heard of called Neon Genesis Evangelion, but I'd never gotten around to watching. And I was really curious about it after seeing that video. And then I saw someone do a parody of the famous opening theme song for it called Cruel Angel's Thesis, and they did a parody in the style of King of the Hill, the cartoon show. And I was like, this is so funny. I want to make something like that as a gag and show my friends, which is something I'd been doing a lot of with VFX. But then I thought, what if I just covered the song? I really like the song. But I didn't think that I would be able to sing it. And I also figured it might take a little bit more time. So I ended up watching the opening trailer, like the theme, a couple times and finding like different similar lookalikes, and people had made templates, and I aligned them up in After Effects. 9 months later, I shot for shot remade the whole thing, and I was joined by one of my oldest and closest friends, Parecki Music, on vocals, who was also game to be a part of the opening. Every single frame is remade, all the animations matched up, with a few changes to make it more metal. So my name is on all the credits, but I had to reverse kanji search a bunch of things. It was really, really challenging. It took like 100 gigs of video, just for like little shots. They each took so much time, but it was so much fun to make. The only regret I have is I could probably mix the song better, but like shots like the shot right over here. And I actually would love to make a full breakdown of this video if people were interested. Obviously, I did not wear this suit, so the reality of what makes this one shot I could break down for you is me lying down on like this chair, covering it in a green tarp so I can green screen it out, green screen behind me, cover myself in like wires for some reason, just so that I have like some reference of the collar, and then finding the suit picture and then stretching it over me in After Effects, and then hand painting the chair so that it looks like a steel chair. And then for some of these other ones, I had to learn how to use Blender and download like different freely made Evangelion 3D assets of like the mechs, and then learn how to animate them using Mixamo, which is like this animator program, just to get them to like bend down for 3 seconds. And each one of those like little shots, I had to find the still of the person in the anime opening, because the anime is like famously cutting between like billions of characters in a few seconds, and doing like electrical effects. Some of the rising shots was just like an action figure that I found. I had to copy fonts. This one was the action figure covered in a bunch of digital smoke. And it just like, every little shot was like a little adventure for me. Oh my gosh. That one is the hardest, because it just does not look good now. But, and I had to remake like the Gynax thing here to look like an RP. There's just so much that went into this project. And I think it should be, by all means, my proudest work from a visual effects point of view. And, you know, musically, it's still one of my favorite songs. Lastly, I felt it would be appropriate to talk about the latest cover that I was particularly proud of. So this is Potion Shop from Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Now, if you're familiar with the game, you know that this is just a small loop that kind of has like these electric, sitar-y kind of psychedelic sounds going on while there's some sort of percussion. It's very simple. And one of the things that I've been trying to like learn more is how like traditional, you know, composers of these different genres have approached other cultures' musics, and I wanted to see if I could make this song feel more Indian, basically influenced. So I took a cue out of like the visuals of the Potion Shop and added a bunch of candles and incense, and I added my own tabla and sitar, which was hard, and then I matched it on guitar using the whammy bar for like that fretless effect. And this was shot with the new camera, so there's a lot of like slow motion playing with like potion creation. And I was really proud of all that candle look too. But also, I wanted to bring my metal side. So I introduced thumping which is kind of like this percussive, funk-inspired technique that's made its rounds in metal. So it's a perfect hybrid of me, I think. And my grandma gave me that sherwani, which I really like. It's kind of like an Indian male dress. You can also tell like my cutting is really fast and like the shots are sharper. Hopefully you can tell that. So I feel really proud of this video, especially because the arrangement, it feels more clever, the mix is more full, the visuals are more like playing into the theme. It's just really, really nice to see 10 years later what that Lethal Lava Land kind of thing became. Like my socials, I post a lot of cool stuff there, and I also share a lot of other people's work there too. So hopefully you can get your fill of really cool video game covers or exciting progressive rock music or what have you. Thanks again for watching. Stay subscribed or whatever. I don't know what people say at the end of videos anymore, but yeah, I really, really appreciate these last 10 years.
Yeehaw!
Have we filmed everything we needed with that?
No. We're gonna play it.